Hey folks, welcome to the inaugural episode of the Marcus Smart. I am the Marcus Smart, Brent Dunstall. And what I want to accomplish today in our inaugural episode is just tell you three main things. Who I am, what is this show, and why am I doing this? So let's get started. I'm all dressed up, ready to go. I decided to, throw on the tux for the inaugural episode, so let's get started. I am a lifetime wrestling fan. From the time I was born, I have been watching wrestling. I don't remember a time before wrestling. I have two older brothers. They're 9 and 10 years older than me. So wrestling started for them at some point, and then I just picked up on it and kept going with it. When I was like a little kid, we used to wrestle in the bedroom, jumping off all the furniture and slamming onto the bed. There was one big, heavy feather pillow I'll always remember was Andre the Giant, and you did not want to get hit by Andre the Giant because that sucked. For most of my younger days, I was a total WWE fan. My favorite pay-per-view is Survivor Series, especially the first two with the huge Survivor Series tag team matches. I don't know why I love it, but I just love that stuff with the Bulldogs and the Killer Bees. Survivor Series, I love them. Late 80s stuff, great. Favorite WrestleMania, just so you know a little bit more, WrestleMania 5, a special Mania for me. It's the only Mania that I owned on VHS, and I just watched that Mania. The weird thing is, I would barely make it to the end, so my favorite matches of that Mania are just Haku versus Hercules, or the Rockers versus Akeem and the Boss Man, weird matches, but there's a little bit about what I grew up watching. During the 90s, I stayed a wrestling fan. I was reading ECW before I could watch ECW here in Canada. We had no way of doing ECW. I was a little too young to be trading tapes. I don't think my mom would have appreciated me getting into all that, but I was definitely, as soon as we got internet, I was reading those ECW reports until I could finally watch, until it finally came to Canada. So I have full background in watching ECW. During the Monday Night Wars, I didn't have to pick a side because I lived in Canada. So Raw aired on a Monday, Nitro aired on a Tuesday. Us Canadians, we got the best of both worlds and got to watch both. It was awesome. After that, in the 2000s, I got into the early TNA days, right as they started airing their pay-per-views, and I was watching all the pay-per-views from TNA right in the early days. About that same time, I got into indie wrestling for the first time with a promotion called UWA Hardcore. It was a fantastic promotion. I have had chances to see some amazing people wrestle like Ultimo Dragon and Jushin Thunder Liger. Guys that we love today like Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens and Cesaro. I got to see these guys long before they were in the WWE, long before they were in NXT. This is pre-developmental. Loved UWA Hardcore, great promotion. And so I loved watching indie wrestling that way. Indie wrestling, by the way, best way to watch wrestling. Right up and close, personal, seeing those guys, giving you everything they got, love it. Then all of a sudden something happened in the 2000s sometime. WWE aired a pay-per-view called ECW December to Dismember. And that was the end of me and WWE. I vowed on that day to never pay good money because I paid for that pay-per-view. Do you hear me, WWE? I paid for December to Dismember. I don't know if I was the only one to pay for it, but I paid for it. And it was the worst. And I vowed to never, ever give a single cent to WWE again. I was that upset by that pay-per-view, and that kind of finishes off WWE for me. And then TNA, as it slowly started to wear on, that was wearing on. UWA closed up shop, unfortunately. And then, I ended up cutting my cable. Who has cable? Does anybody still have cable? I haven't had cable in years. And when I cut my cable, that was kind of the end of wrestling for me. I lost track of the shows. I lost track of TNA. It all kind of fell by the wayside. And then the network era. WWE came out with the network, and they had me hooked. I was going to get every WCW pay-per-view, every NWA pay-per-view, every ECW pay-per-view, and yes, even though I was upset about December to Dismember, every WWE pay-per-view ever, I couldn't help myself. I had to get it. And they lured me back in. All right, welcome back, folks. We just had a little bit of an unplanned break for what we like to call technical difficulties. Wouldn't be an inaugural episode of anything without everything going wrong. So, we were at the network era and WWE luring me back in. So once I had that network, I started watching those pay-per-views, and then from the pay-per-views I started watching Raw, and then from Raw I started watching NXT, and then SmackDown, and then Impact, and then, oh my gosh, then it all just came back. And I'm right back where I started, just like neck deep in wrestling. So, and then after that, I got back into one of my real big passions, indie wrestling, with the best indie wrestling promotion in Canada, Smash Wrestling. So that's who I am. There's my biases. I am a total indie mark, a WWE mark. That's who I am as a wrestling fan. What is this show? Well, this show is just my show where I'm going to talk about wrestling. And I'm going to talk about wrestling every day. Yes, every day. That's what I'm saying. Until tomorrow, then maybe once a week. But right now, every day you'll be getting an episode of this show. So the lineup's going to look somewhat like this. Sundays, we're going to do pay-per-view previews and news. Monday, we're going to go over the pay-per-view results. And if there's no pay-per-view, more news. Tuesdays, we're going to review Raw. Wednesdays, we're going to be doing SmackDown once it goes live, and Impact. Thursdays, I'll be reviewing NXT and Lucha Underground. I'm thinking about starting right back at Season 1, but I might start at Episode 1, Season 2. Because Lucha Underground runs as seasons, I don't see any reason why I can't just go back and start from there. We'll see on Wednesday what I decide to do with that, or Thursday. Friday, SmackDown. We're still going to do SmackDown while it's still taped, so that'll be on Friday, reviewing SmackDown. Once SmackDown goes to Tuesday, then Friday will just be news. And then on Saturday is going to be a little something I want to call the pay-per-view project. I'm not going to start it until SmackDown moves to Tuesday. Just the week's going to work out a little bit better, and I'll talk about that when I'm closer to that. And that'll be the pay-per-view project on Saturday. So that's kind of what I'm looking at, 7 days a week. Wrestling right here with the Marcus Smart for you. And a little bit, the reason I think this show is going to be a little bit different, and the reason I wanted to do it, a lot of the stuff I get out there is from people who are smarts and they know about wrestling, but they don't have enough mark in them for me, which is just still that love of wrestling, that, oh my God, did that just happen? You know, this is awesome. And I think sometimes when people are inside the industry, they lose that. And so that's why I titled this show The Marcus Smart, because I want it to be smart, but I don't want to stop being a mark. I love wrestling. All right, so why am I doing this other than what I just said? One, my passion, and I hope you get a little bit of that through what we've talked about on this episode. Two, a little bit more personal, a little get dark for a second. I've been struggling a lot with mental health issues, and I really wanted a creative outlet for me. And when I've been struggling with those issues over this last year or so, wrestling's really been in there for me. I've really thrown myself back into wrestling, and so that's another reason why I really want to do this. Also, recently, the birth of my little baby daughter really changed me and really made me realize I want this girl to chase her dreams. And in order to do that, I need to learn how to chase my dreams. So guess what, folks? Here I am chasing my dreams, doing what I love to do. And last but not least, the reason why this is specifically happening right now is the last Smash Wrestling show I was at. There's an indie worker on the scene known as the Remix of Professional Wrestling, Kevin Bennett. If you don't know him, he's a heel out on the indie wrestling scene. Look him up, fantastic guy. His match versus Leo Rush on the Smash vs. CZW show was off the charts. But he cut an excellent heel promo on the last Smash show, and he said, you know what, the reason why all you fans hate me is because I'm chasing my dreams, and you are sitting there and you know you just got to go back to the job you hate and the life you hate, and you're not chasing your dreams and you're just jealous of me. And I said, you know what? There's something to that, Kevin Bennett. There's something to that. So here it is. Here's me. Here's the Marcus Smart. Hope you enjoy. This is episode 1, and episode 2 will be out today because it's Sunday, and we'll be starting with our preview of Money in the Bank. Hope to see you on episode 2.